prioritize the youth in different sectors. Can Zimbabwe achieve its winter wheat yield target? We will be joined live by an expert to unpack what needs to be done to keep the dream alive. In our Crime Watch, we give you the story of an unrepentant bogus ZAC official who has since been locked up. And in sport, we give you this week's PSL fixtures, including fading giants Dynamo State with FC Platinum. And now in news in great detail, Zimbabwe's leader, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, says his government is committed to investing in children's safety. President Mnangagwa said this while officially opening the 33rd session of the Child Parliament in Mount Upton earlier today. The session ran under the theme Planning and Budgeting for Children's Rights Progress since 2010. Our correspondent Sharon Munjenjima was in Mount Upton.
The halls of Zimbabwe's new parliament building in Mount Upton were filled with youthful energy today as the 33rd junior parliament session was officially opened. The occasion brought together 360 child parliamentarians, senior cabinet ministers, and other senior government officials. Zimbabwe's leader, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who presided over the event, confirmed his government's commitment to prioritizing children's safety.
Under my administration, children's dignity, their safety, and potential shall always be promoted. This principle is embedded across our national development policies.
President Mnangagwa urged the young leaders to speak out where they feel the government is failing them. He said issues raised by junior parliamentarians must translate to national policy.
My government expects the recommendations of the comprehensive evaluation of the junior parliament program towards strengthening the overall impact of the program. Don't be shy. Say what you think we are failing to do for you.
The junior parliamentarians aged between 13 and 18 will serve for a year, advocating for the needs and rights of children nationwide. Child President Lionel Masarire, who delivered the State of the Nation address, urged young parliamentarians to speak against drug and substance abuse in their communities.
In our schools and communities, let us shine light on the perils of drug and negative pressure. Let us launch support clubs where young survivors of addiction share their victories. Let us convene parents, teachers, and our village leaders to stand united in safeguarding our generation. And wherever we can, let us join hands with our senior parliamentarians, our mentors, so that our plans take root.
The young parliamentarians raised several motions on issues affecting young people, such as lack of adequate learning materials. Today, the junior parliamentarians begin their year-long journey to amplify the voices of children across Zimbabwe. As they take on this critical role, it remains to be seen whether their voices will be heard and heeded by authorities. Sharon Munjenjima for ZTN News at Parliament.
Now to discuss the importance of junior parliament and its place in the inclusion of young people in governance, we are joined live by youth advocate Tekmo Mazurise. Good evening, Tekmo. Thank you for joining us on Newsplus. Now, in terms of putting the youth at the forefront and in charge of their future, what is the importance of the junior parliament as an institution for youth advocacy?
So in terms of putting youth at the forefront and in charge of their future, I believe the junior parliament is a very important tool for youth advocacy. In development circles, they say nothing for us without us. So if you want to talk meaningful and holistic youth development, we need to continue supporting this very important institution. I'm very happy that as a country we have continued to support and lend an ear to the junior parliament. Even in terms of makeup, we've seen that the junior parliament draws from the various areas that make up our country, the rural areas, the peri-urban areas, and even the urban areas. By that, we have better appreciation of the various challenges that our young people face. As a country, we should really think the future through youth empowerment. And I'm happy that the junior parliament is over the years continued to contribute to the national development agenda through learning from the ideas exchange, the input from our young people. And if we continue on that path, we are definitely set for better prospects for our young people.
Mr. Mazuru said the junior parliamentarians spoke with a united voice against drug and substance abuse with a strong call for more rehabilitation centers to deal with the problem. What do you think is the place of young people in this conversation?
Indeed, drug and substance abuse has become a national challenge, and I'm happy that our young people are also taking a stand in this fight. Yes, the issue of rehabilitation centers is very important. The few that are there are quite pricey for the ordinary man. And if you want rehabilitation for all, let's ensure that we have as many centers across Zimbabwe, affordable for everyone. Young people are better positioned to really understand the triggers and challenges that lead them to drug and substance abuse. And should we work with them, I'm sure we'll be able to plug the gaps. My call is for all the stakeholders to really put hands on deck. We can talk about the churches, the community leaders, our learning institutions, the NGOs, the corporate world, law enforcement agents. We should all work together in the fight against drug and substance abuse. Beyond that, we also need to understand the various triggers. Is it idleness? They say in idle mind is the devil's playground. How do we ensure that our young people are productive so that they are better concentrated on development issues instead of wasting away to drug and substance abuse? So yes, with concerted efforts and unit, we win the fight against drug and substance abuse.
Thank you, Mr. Mazuru, for joining us on Newsplus. Moving on with our stories, SADC member states have committed to promote entrepreneurship women in STEM and digital literacy as a means to advance regional aspirations. This was revealed at the hybrid meeting of SADC ministers responsible for education and training in science, technology and innovation in Harare today.
A dialogue on promoting entrepreneurship and encouraging the participation of women in STEM took center stage in today's discussion. The bloc believes that facilitating entrepreneurship and harnessing the rapid advances in science and technology can unlock opportunities for sustainable economic development.
As we gather, we must pay attention to how we can first enhance access to quality education for all, with a focus on STEM education and digital literacy being critical. Second, foster a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship to drive economic growth and job creation.
SADC Secretariat, in collaboration with OPRO and the Technological Higher Education Network South Africa, is implementing the University Industry Co-Create. The key aims of the project is to support the development of a university-wide culture of entrepreneurship and innovation within the SADC region.
This project aims to, among other things, support the development of a university-wide culture of entrepreneurship and innovation, and create an ecosystem of change agents within the SADC region. These agents will systematically contribute to the policies on universities.
Zimbabwe signed the Women in Science Charter, a deliberate position to support women in science and to provide scholarships to support the girl child in sciences. Zimbabwe endorsed the establishment of the SADC University of Transformation, which has potential to bridge the academia and industry gap. Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education Frederick Shava highlighted the importance of this strategic transformative initiative.
Zimbabwe supports the establishment of the SADC University of Transformation, which has potential to bridge the academia and industry gap by producing graduates with skills needed in industry and who can be job creators as opposed to job seekers.
More than any other time, the region must speed up industrialization to bring products competitiveness in trade with other regions and the world. However, what is certain is that for this to happen, the bloc must go beyond just these deliberations and implement strategies. For ZTM Prime, I am Satachi Siwakwaza.
Newsplus takes a break. Stay tuned.
Asilwela ukunqoba kuphela. Kepha silwela ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze. Sekunjalo.
Win big in the EcoCash Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion with over 200,000 winners. Earn at least 20 points when you cash in, send money, buy airtime or data, make payments, receive money from the diaspora, or receive your salary via EcoCash. And you could be in the running to win an all-expenses-paid trip to watch an AFCON match in Morocco, a holiday for two in Dubai, solar kits, cows, fridges, gas stoves, motorbikes, cash, airtime, and so much more. It's simple. Simply transact, earn points, and win in the Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion. Dial *151# or use the EcoCash app now. EcoCash. Live life the EcoCash way.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Newsplus. The wheat planting season has concluded and the nation has successfully exceeded the target of 120,000 hectares. The Ministry of Agriculture stated that they are currently focusing on agronomics, fertilization, irrigation, and pest management. The objective is to enhance productivity to achieve their target of 600,000 metric tons. But the question is, what needs to be done now to achieve this target? For perspectives, we are now joined by Ivan Craig, the board chairperson of the Agricultural Rural Development Authority, ADA. Good evening, Craig, and thank you for joining us on Newsplus. Now tell us, why is it important to adhere to the planting timelines for wheat, and what can be done to salvage the crop if timelines are not adhered to?
Good evening, and a very interesting question. Yes, you know, with wheat, it's tricky. You have to be on time when it comes to planting. And if you delay, it's also advisable that you plant short season variety so that they mature within the window, because the issue with wheat is quality. If you go in late in the season, it means your wheat is going to mature into the rain. So the challenge comes when we now receive the October rains, and then it soaks the wheat, and then that wheat starts sprouting. So the quality automatically goes down in terms of falling numbers and protein content as well. So that wheat will basically have no use in the industry. Yes, you might try to do livestock feed, you might try to do other things with it, but really the value of that wheat will have dropped drastically.
Mr. Craig, the target has been achieved, and what are the next critical steps for farmers that will foster higher yield?
Yes, thank you. Very clever question. You're talking like a farmer. The issue with wheat, planting is one thing. Achieving the target we have achieved about 121,000 hectares as a country. And as ADA, we are close to 61,000 hectares. So achieving that hectarage is one thing, but achieving the yield of an average of 5 tons per hectare is another thing. So what we need to do is we have to make sure that we get the correct plant population, and we achieve this by withdrawing water for about 21 days, where the plants are going to harden, and then root development, and they are going to develop tillers. So the tillers will increase the plant population. So that phase is very critical of withdrawing water. And as soon as we reach the day 21, we now have to come in. That's when we do our first top dressing. We broadcast our first top dressing, and followed by irrigation, and followed by herbicide application post-emergence.
Mr. Craig, before we let you go, what is that farmers can do to minimize pest damages on their crops?
So the agronomic practices plays an important role as we speak, and this is including scaring away of the quillia birds. That's a menace bird. That bird, it eats about average 15 grams per bird per day. So you can imagine all that swamp eating 15 grams per day times the number of birds. Hey, the whole field we have gone. So there are ways of scaring the birds. We can use noise, vuvuzelas, bells, cans, anything. And the government itself, the Ministry of Agriculture, has got a migratory pastoral division which has got which is on standby. They are quite vigilant. We've got some drones which are on standby. We've got some canisters which are on standby, knapsack sprayers, high-pressured knapsack sprayers on standby. And when worst come to the worst, there are aeroplanes as well which are there on standby to go and control these birds. Because what happens when they come, as these people come in now, it's the Ministry of Migratory Pest Department plus national parks. They actually identify where these birds roost in the evening, and they go and control them from their roosting places. So that's another area where we have to be very careful. Otherwise, our yield will be badly affected if we don't control those birds.
Thank you, Mr. Craig, for giving us those insights on the wheat crop. Moving on with our stories, Zimbabwe is currently home to 17,200 refugees, notably with individuals from the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, constituting 76% of this population. This has been attributed to the ongoing civil unrest in the country. This was revealed by the Ministry of Social this week ahead of the World Refugee Day, which aims to raise awareness about the plight of refugees worldwide.
In terms of protection arrangements, Zimbabwe currently uses the settlement system as a policy position. This arrangement is in line with some reservations that were expressed when we ratified the 1951 convention. However, some refugees who are professionals and also some refugees who are business people are accorded authority to work and are residing out of Tongogara refugee settlement. In a bid to harness access to national social protection services by refugees,
Deputy Minister Dina also emphasized that the government is actively working to assist asylum seekers with their documentation needs.
My government submitted 6 pledges before the UN Global Refugee Forum in 2019 and renewed the pledges in 2023. The pledges mainly prioritize promotion of livelihood opportunities for refugees, strengthening access to civil documentation, and also access to asylum rights, inclusion in sporting activities, access to education, and review of national legislation to strengthen the protection of refugees in the country.
Moving on with our stories, government has launched the National Event-Based Surveillance Guidelines in a bid to curb the spread of outbreak diseases from the community level to the national level. The launch of the EBS is part of the government's commitment to fight against disease and protect health rights to citizens and preserving life. Bruce Chinembiri was on the ground.
In a renewed effort to bring healthcare closer to the people, the government has launched an innovative initiative, event-based surveillance. This approach aims to bridge the gap between healthcare providers and the community, promoting better health outcomes. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Aspect Maunganize, highlighted that the launch of event-based surveillance is a key component of the government's strategy to fight outbreaks in the country.
We are here to affirm a national commitment to really declare unequivocally that the health and safety of every Zimbabwean is our highest priority. It's very important that we build a health system that listens, responds, and adapts in real time. So this is a very bold step forward that we have taken, and without the dedicated collaboration of our partners, the Africa CDC, WHO, UNICEF, and many other partners who have stood with us throughout this process, we wouldn't have succeeded.
This will bridge the gap between community health workers and national health workers, enabling a rapid response to disease outbreaks like cholera and mpox. Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa CDC, noted that Zimbabwe is among the southern African countries severely impacted by disease outbreaks and commended government's dedication to protect public health.
This adoption and launch of the National Event-Based Surveillance Guidelines encompassing a One Health approach comes at a critical time when Africa is faced with various public health events, human, man-made, and even natural, hence the need to strengthen the surveillance capacities in the health security.
And to fight against disease outbreaks in the nation, UNICEF and WHO reaffirm their commitment to partner with the government.
UNICEF is proud to stand with the ministry and other partners in this transformative journey. For us, surveillance is not just a technical intervention. It's a tool to protect every child, every woman, every community that we serve.
WHO stands ready to work with the Ministry of Health and Childcare and partners to support your ministry to strengthen resilience of the health system to deal with public health emergencies. The work that we have done together with the Ministry of Health and Childcare and partners at national and sub-national level to strengthen public health surveillance through cascading IDSR is testament to our commitment to strengthen health system resilience in Zimbabwe.
As Zimbabwe embarks on this new chapter in healthcare, this new program will foster a healthier future for all.
Still with health matters, women and girls in Zimbabwe are more vulnerable to HIV than their peers due to various factors, which include biological and social factors. A UNAIDS report reveals that women aged 15 to 49 have a higher prevalence rate than their male counterparts, with a prevalence of 15.3% for women and 10% for men. To address this challenge, the country's HIV response coordinator, National AIDS Council, has employed various strategies to reduce vulnerability in women, including a recent campaign in Mutoko.
Chinomona from Mutoko district, putting food on the table in the past was a man's responsibility. She was not economically empowered and had no means to provide. When the National AIDS Council introduced the Sister to Sister initiative in Mutoko district, she jumped at the opportunity that not only gave her mutual support, but reduced her vulnerability through economic empowerment. She received training in baking and her life has never been the same again.
Mirizhonga yamanga muchataura kuti zvinoderedza semirizhonga pamba vabereki vakaita mirizhonga nemwana akasawana zvikwanisiro anenge akutoona kunge ari kushungurudzwa dzimweni dzenguva vaona iri nzira yakafanira kuti zviri nani ndiroorwe pamwe dambudziko randinaro rinoita shoma.
Women like Memory are more vulnerable to HIV than their peers. Through the Sister to Sister initiative, National AIDS Council is empowering women like Memory through skills training and equipping them with knowledge about their sexual and reproductive rights. Tarido Gondo, a sister-to-sister mentor, taught Memory and more than 100 beneficiaries baking, a skill they are now using to make ends meet.
Plani yakasimudzira nharaunda yekusani kwadombo vana vazhinji vanga vakangogara vamwe vachingopiwa vana vachingogara mudzimba. Now vakuziva kuti mari inotsvagwa sei, vakutsvaga mari nebaking. Tozotendawo zvekare venaki vari kutikurudzira zvekare.
The National AIDS Council believes economically empowering women like Memory helps reduce their vulnerability. Women like Memory and several others in Mutoko bear the brunt of HIV than their male counterparts. Higher rates among young women highlights the need for continued focus on targeted interventions.
Pregnant and drop out of school, and we have this as a challenge in almost all the districts. In the district where we are currently, which is Mutoko, we have the same problem. And we have selected vulnerable girls who are not going to school from the communities into the sister-to-sister program. And these young girls, these adolescent girls, are getting lessons, life lessons from the sister-to-sister programs.
Newsplus will be back with more stories. Stay tuned.
EcoCash promotion with over 200,000 winners. Earn at least 20 points when you cash in. Send money, buy airtime or data, make payments, receive money from the diaspora, or receive your salary via EcoCash. And you could be in the running to win an all-expenses-paid trip to watch an AFCON match in Morocco, a holiday for two in Dubai, solar kits, cows, fridges, gas stoves, motorbikes, cash, airtime, and so much more. It's simple. Simply transact, earn points, and win in the Chakachaya Ziawaku EcoCash promotion. Dial *151# or use the EcoCash app now. EcoCash. Live life the EcoCash way.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Newsplus. Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training Minister Tinoma Chakaira said efforts have been directed towards the implementation of tailor-made curriculums to afford youth with critical skills that best suit their living standards. Youth in Kadoma have commended government for investing massively towards coming up with unique and productive training programs being initiated in vocational trainings, saying the development has positively aided on their person.
Maskills atiri kuita achatibatsirane nawo yekuti sometimes tinenge tisina zvokuitawo pa time yedu segeneration yedu saka nezvozokwanisa kuzotipawo zvekuita mukurarama. Zvatiri kuita zvotibatsira kuti seeji yedu inei vakawanda vacho zvemutori vanenge vakungomitisa, saka isu takaona kuti tikaikuro zvotibatsira kuti hatizowani time nekuti tiite zvekutoriyo, tinenge takuwana zvekuita ende tinenge tichibetserekana, hatizoshayiwa zvekuita mumastreet tichitoita mabhizinesi edu emaoko.
Tikubatsirika pakuti hatichaoni nguva yekuita zvemadrugs, takungofokasa tichikuwanawo experience nezvatiri kudzidziswa zviri kutibatsirawo kuti tigone kuzvishandira.
In the following report, Talent Gore gives us today's crime in court update.
A 40-year-old man from Zombe has been jailed for 15 years after being convicted of rape by a Kwekwe magistrate. The incident happened on May 29 when the man followed a 24-year-old woman to a borehole as she walked back home. He attacked her, dragging her off the path and raped her. A passerby witnessed the assault and alerted police, leading to the offender's arrest and conviction. In Mutare, a 30-year-old man, Loveworthy Peace Nyamugunda, has been remanded in custody until June 30 after being charged with impersonating a public official twice. Nyamugunda allegedly posed as a Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission officer to avoid paying parking fines after his vehicle was claimed by municipal police. He reportedly flashed a fake ID labeled Southern Africa Regional Anti-Corruption Organization and convinced an inspector to release his vehicle without penalty. When he tried the same trick again on June 12, the inspector became suspicious and alerted authorities, leading to his arrest. In another case, two Bulawayo residents have been convicted of fraud after selling a residential stand that had already been sold to someone else. Hennessy Dube, aged 46, and 45-year-old Flora Moyo misled a buyer into paying $13,500 United States dollars for the stand in High Mount using fake documents and false claims. The transaction took place at a law firm, but it later emerged that the property had already been sold in 2022 for $17,000 United States dollars. The victim reported the matter to the police after discovering the scam. Dube was sentenced to 7 years, with 3 years suspended, leaving him to serve 4 years. Moyo will serve 3 years after 4 years was suspended for good behavior. Meanwhile, police in Lupane arrested 35-year-old Nkosiyazi Ndlovu in connection with the suspected murder of his wife. The incident occurred in Nyamandlovu, where Ndlovu allegedly assaulted his wife using fists and a switch, accusing her of infidelity. The victim later died from the injuries sustained during the attack. For ZTN Prime, I am Talent Gore.
In news from around the world, Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan has inaugurated the John Pombe Magufuli Bridge, a major infrastructure project built by Chinese companies under the Belt and Road Initiative. Located on the southern shore of Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake, the bridge spans 4.66 kilometers and features a dual 4-lane carriageway. The opening of the bridge marks the end of nearly 60 years of ferry operations between Busisi and Kigongo, offering local residents a long-awaited alternative. Officials have said that the bridge is expected to significantly ease travel and logistics, improve transport efficiency, and boost regional development.
I believe when this bridge comes to open, so it will improve it will become an important link. It will promote the national development, improving the life of people here and people is nearby, logistic, transportation of vehicles, goods, and efficiency of the transportation.
As tensions between Israel and Iran escalate, Turkey is tightening security measures along its eastern border with Iran. Many Iranians have been fleeing from the conflict through the Gubalak crossing, while some others are returning to Iran despite the risks.
I'm coming from Tehran, Nobonyat Square, one of the first places that got bombed. It took me 2 days to get here. We were searching for small children under the rubble. My elderly parents were sleeping when the building collapsed. Our neighbours died.
Foreign visitors, but all
Fu Kong, China's permanent representative to the United Nations, has called for the UN Security Council to take concrete actions for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Iran as tensions escalate. In an informal meeting with the media at the UN headquarters in New York City, Fu said China is very concerned about the potential escalation of tensions in the Middle East.
Yeah, we are very concerned about the possible escalation, and I think that it is the view of the overwhelming majority of the international community that we should see an immediate ceasefire and the protection of civilians, and then the nuclear issue can only be resolved through negotiation. So I think in that spirit, the Security Council need to take some concrete actions in that respect.
Many displaced families in Gaza have found no shelter for them except living within the crumbling walls of partially destroyed and structurally unstable buildings due to a drastic reduction in the livable area to less than 1/5 of the territory's total space. One such building in Gaza City was severely damaged following an Israeli airstrike with its interior in ruins. Yet many Gazans have no choice but to reside inside.
اضطررنا إلى هذا المكان المدمر والآن يحتل هذا المكان ما يقارب 50 عائلة كلهم من شمال غزة وخصص بالذكر من جبال البلد معظمهم عائلات من جبال البلد أجت في هذا طبعا البرج مدمر لا شك لكن احنا يعني مضطرين نقعد هلا لانه ما لقينا مكان ومش مستعدين نروح نقعد بالشوارع لانه برضه الشوارع بدك يعني مش صالحة كمان انك تسكن فيها في ظل هالازدحامات.
Business news up next. Stay tuned.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic. He has done it.
Get ready for more on Supersport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
They've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the picture?
In business news, it has been weeks since the Reserve Bank assured the nation there was enough ZiG in circulation. In many ways, this has been a unique challenge for the monetary authorities. On one hand, the consumers have forwarded a genuine need, and on the other, this is also strong evidence that the ZiG is in high demand. In the following report, Faith Nyaude breaks down the delicate subject and sheds more light on the current situation.
It is a fact that the ZiG is in high demand. It is also a fact that there is ZiG shortage in the market, particularly the physical notes. Authorities have already indicated that the challenge will be addressed. But what monetary authorities have been very clear about is that tight monetary stance will be maintained. So how will the central bank be able to ensure that there is adequate liquidity to satisfy the market while at the same time avoiding destabilizing the same market? Monetary Policy Committee member Pesi Kwanyanya says the issue is not about quantity but distribution.
So the issues relating to availability and circulation of ZiG in the market today do not reflect the limit or limitation by Reserve Bank as regards injection of ZiG in the market.
According to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, year-on-year ZiG inflation rose from 85.7% in April to 92.1% in May 2025. The central bank says this is owing to a once-off shock experienced in September 2024, as shown by the low month-on-month inflation, which stands at 1%.
I've got that confidence that if I can get my sales in ZiG, I can go to the Reserve Bank, get my money, go and import or something like that. Even the suppliers locally, they're also accepting the ZiG as a form of payment.
Transport operators, on the other hand, say while the ZiG is stable, even when it is available, there are also some problems that they're facing.
The ZiG is accepted, but in terms of the ZiG management, that is not in our hands. It is in the hands of the central bank.
However, a survey by ZTN Prime showed that the ZiG notes are widely used by commuter omnibuses for change purposes, and it is actually in short supply. Another observation is that the ZiG notes are high on demand among vendors and small informal businesses as part of change. Retailers, often notorious for rejecting ZiG, argue that they were actually among the first to accept the currency.
As I've said, we were the first to embrace the use of the ZiG. Right now, there are instances where you can even go to 90% sales in USD. There's no ZiG. We have never had any instance where we are saying we are not going to be taking the ZiG.
The Reserve Bank maintains that over 300 million ZiG is in circulation, but experts say much of it is in digital form. Will the central bank be able to find a balance? And if more of the ZiG is in fiscal notes, changing hands without checks and balances, what will be the overall impact on currency stability? Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyaude in Harare.
Skills Audit and Development Minister Paul Mavima has challenged the youth to invest in relevant skills that create homegrown solutions. Speaking at the Money and Wealth Summit 2025 in Harare today, Minister Mavima affirmed the government's commitment to promoting the youth through empowering them with relevant knowledge that can transform the nation.
They get supported by their governments with loans to start the operations. Let's do the same here. Mutapa Investment Fund, we have now set up a venture capital fund, which is now a standalone, but it's being seeded. It's getting seed money from Treasury. But I think we have the resources to set up funds that can help our brightest minds to develop the opportunities that are available in our country. As government, we recognize this agency, the need to move Zimbabwe forward.
Zimbabwe International Trade Fair Chief Executive Nicholas Ndebele commended the initiative, saying the Money and Wealth Initiative should be embraced as it creates room for young people to build and come up with homegrown solutions that can boost the country's economic growth and national pride.
Collaborative efforts are essential in fostering inclusive entrepreneurial programs that effectively reach underserved communities, ensuring equitable access to vital opportunities. Therefore, support from both government and the private sector stakeholders is indispensable, as it provides crucial financial assistance to aspiring entrepreneurs across key sectors. Integrating entrepreneurship education into formal schooling equips future entrepreneurs with the practical skills needed to thrive in emerging industries. We commend the heritage-based education system for fostering sustainable, solution-oriented thinking that addresses Africa's unique challenges. At the end of July, the ZITF will host Scholastic to support these initiatives by bringing together various stakeholders to implement solutions that generate wealth without borders. I encourage each of you to take full advantage of the networking opportunities available here.
Money and Wealth founder Sharon Lindelo says this initiative is prime as it builds connectivity in spheres of life meant to bring interconnectedness to all young aspirants and entrepreneurs. She urged young people to bring forth their business ideas.
The Financial Grant is an organization that is dedicated to equipping individuals with financial literacy knowledge. We work with SMEs, government through collaboration and partnerships, and as we did that, we then created the Money and Wealth Summit, where we bring together policymakers, captains of industries, the youth, the corporate, the young people, in order to make sure that we have conversations about the development of our country and the growth of our businesses in Zimbabwe. And so for this year's edition, we had amazing collaborations and partnership, ZITF and EMMA being our headline partners in bringing this summit, all in an effort to bring about sustainable development. In this year's edition, we are running under the theme, Africa is on the rise, entrepreneurship is the goal, creating wealth without borders.
Entertainment news up next, stay tuned.
In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
In entertainment news, the Bulawayo Children's Choir is proving they are far more than a fleeting sensation. They are a rising force in Zimbabwe's music scene, and they are here to stay. Now preparing to release their 5th single, titled Yizibusiso Zodwa, Blessings Only Today, the talented young ensemble is venturing into gospel for the first time, delivering a message that is both powerful and pure. A gratitude to God for his abundant blessings. Moving on with our entertainment stories, viewers across Southern Africa are set for a powerful emotional and cultural experience as Shaga Ilembe, Mzansi Magic's award-winning historical drama, continues to chart new territory with the introduction of the Swati royal lineage in Season 2. The much-anticipated Episode 2, set to air on Sunday 22 June at 8 p.m. Central African Time, will mark the official debut of King Somhlolo, Queen Lojiba, and the Ngwane royal line in what is being celebrated as a monumental tribute to Swati heritage. Nomsa Piliso, CEO of General Entertainment at the MultiChoice, said the inclusion of the Swati story enriches the series' narrative and underscores Africa's interconnectedness. His stories. It promises to be an action-packed weekend. Here is a lineup of some of the entertainment events to look forward to. Killer T will start his Friday at the Steakhouse, backed by the Hot Property Band, where he is expected to warm up a cold winter night. He will also share the stage with the Travelers Band. Sulman Chimbetu will tonight be anchoring the Afro-Fusion night with some Dendera music at the Yard at what is expected to be an intimate performance at the Cozy venue. From there, he will head to Mushandira Palme Hotel in Machipisa for a performance on Saturday. It will be an unforgettable night of music and celebration as Andy Burizo and Jita's band take the stage at Globetrotter in Westgate on June 21 for Andy's birthday bash. He will be supported by Afro-Fusion maestro Mbeu and the Mozi tribe. It will be a blend of Zimbabwe's most talented musicians. Sungura Super Giant Alec Macheso is set to conquer the Midlands province with a weekend of shows in Kwekwe and Zvishavane. He'll start off with a performance at Gules Gardens in Kwekwe before he heads to Yar FM Park in Zvishavane for a performance on Saturday. Exciting weekend for merrymakers. Stand by for sports news.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
In sports news, Highlanders head coach Kevin Kaindu is optimistic that he will have the bulk of his squad for the Bulaya derby against Chicken Inn this Sunday at the Barberfields Stadium. Kaindu is sweating over the availability of some of his players who are nursing injuries and hopes to have them back in time for their next game.
As you can see, we are still doing our preparation for the next league game against the Chicken in the derby. Just coming from a midweek game, traveled a long distance from Mutari. From the last game that we played, we picked up few minor injuries from the squad that traveled. We've given Matthews just light training because of the injury that he sustained. In the last game that we picked, I think we had also forced to make a change on Horizon Swanda that did not travel with the team because of the knock that he picked from the Zimbabwe game. He looks much better today. This is our last session that we have for this week. Tomorrow we just do light training, and we hope that even Matthews that is doing light training will be available for selection.
Dynamo's head coach Saul Chaminuka is optimistic that their first win against Yada is the first of many for his side. Chaminuka believes the win comes as a morale booster for the side as they travel to Mandava to face FC Platinum on Sunday.
It is obviously going to bring in a lot of confidence in the boys. I am sure that close the game as it is. We will recover tomorrow, starting today. Wherever we have to training, we have to continue to planning on how to tackle platform. We watched them play here yesterday, and I'm sure they also watched them play today here. And I think Sunday's game will depend on who plays well. The players respond, chances are any team can win the game.
The wave of utilizing artificial intelligence has since arrived in Zimbabwe, with a number of coaches undertaking courses to use artificial intelligence to their advantage. We get more in the following report.
To win in football, it takes the best players and the best strategy. But with how things stand, some are going beyond all that, as they are now incorporating scientific elements such as artificial intelligence so as to get the desired results. Tanzanian-based sports scientist Nyasha Charandura believes there is need to use modern trends of science and technology to good use so that teams get desired results.
We are now in a different phase, which is the fourth industrial revolution, where artificial intelligence should be our key partner in terms of integration of data. So you'd find that what used to take teams to have the whole room of, could I say, scientists and etc. do that, only 2 people can do it using artificial intelligence. And the data that used to take hours and hours. So we are moving from working hard to working smart and having efficiency.
The initiative has been welcomed by a number of local coaches, and Charandura has set sights on expanding it across the whole of Africa.
Basically, our vision is for Africa because I've been received well in East Africa, especially Tanzania. And we obvious because our foundation is Zimbabwe, we always remember the coaches that we started with and those that are willing to be here, because we are just like bridges. We put a bridge so that people can be able to pass. I'm excited now. I can tell you that almost all the physical coaches that are national teams, they came from us. And it's something that makes us proud, because at the end of the day, it is taking the nation to the next level.
Charandura added that there's need for local coaches to be abreast with modern trends and called on them to work hand in hand with artificial intelligence.
This is the direction which the whole world is taking. So we always make sure that we try, like whatever that we manage to get from CAF, from FIFA, and we share with conditioning coaches, because there are no specific programs for them. But they are now more like scientists. Being a scientist is not having a degree. It is application of scientific principles. So if someone is applying scientific principles, it means they are scientists. And we have seen a lot of changes in most of the coaches. Like what you always say, artificial intelligence will never replace people. But people without artificial intelligence will be replaced with those, because it doesn't come into the area of critical thinking. Critical thinking should always remain the basis. But artificial intelligence is our helper. At the end of the day, it's just there to help us. It will never replace people.
Embracing technology can only be beneficial for football if everyone pushes in the same direction. After all, technological advancements such as artificial intelligence are not here to replace coaches, but rather make life easier for them. Reporting for ZN Prime, I am Tawanda Muntali.
We've come to the end of our bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Newsplus. We now leave you with the weather. My name is Francisca Mshije. Have a pleasant weekend.
Where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power